we are checking out another viewer's car because Rijk contacted us and asked us if we wanted to drive their Volvo V60 T6 Polestar with a little tune on it and a couple of modifications. So of course we said yes, and today Rijk showed up with his dad and this awesome Volvo V60 Polestar with the inline 6, the good engine, because after this came the Polestar V60 with the 4-cylinder, which is also a pretty cool car, but not as cool as the 6-cylinder, of course. Now this is a fast Volvo in a long line of fast Volvos. So of course we had the 850 T5R, the V70R, the S60R, but this is one of the few modern Volvos that is properly quick and also has some very cool hardware. So today I'm going to show you around it, I'm going to show you all the cool stuff on it, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast, hopefully, if the fog clears up a bit, because yeah, it's a bit foggy. So the spec, we've got this Polestar Blue, which is actually called Rebel Blue, but is known as Polestar Blue because this is their color. You can see the logo here, very cool with all the water drops on there. But it is a beautiful color and you don't see it that often. You could also get it in white and in black, I believe, and silver as well. But this of course is the most Polestar-y of Polestars. But it's a very pretty front end, I have to say. I really like this V60 generation front end. Of course, the Polestar also gets these little bumper extensions, little splitter parts basically, that give it a little bit more stance, more angry look as well. And then one of the highlights for me of this car is this 20-inch wheel design. Now, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because the center is a bit more inwards and then the spokes come out like that. I don't know. I really like that design. Behind that we've got Brembo brakes, 6-piston calipers and Pirelli P0 tires. Normally, I think as standard, this car was delivered on Super Sports by Michelin. But anyway, so we've got this very cool golden cap as well. That looks pretty awesome. Black mirror caps, black window surrounds. You can go follow the owner, Volvo for all, on Instagram. Go check him out. At the rear, we've got a 2.5-inch stainless exhaust for the Polestar with valves in there as well. So if you go to sport mode in the gearbox, the valves open. But Rijk and his dad got rid of the fuse for the valve, so it's always open. Another Polestar badge right there. And then let's take a look at the engine. So we've got the inline 6, which is actually mounted transversely. Never thought about that. 3-liter inline 6 twin scroll turbo from Borg Wagner, which is an upgrade over the standard T6, which had 300 horsepower. You could also go for a tune by the Volvo dealer, also like a Polestar tune, which was 329 horsepower, and then this full-blown Polestar version has 350 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque. As I said, it's not stock, so we've got a tune by Rika, and it now delivers 380 horsepower and 565 newton meters of torque, which is very nice. But the problem is that this is linked to the old 6-speed automatic gearbox by Volvo, which is, well, not great, I would say. Not great. It's a bit of an old fella, and you really feel that. So we've also got a carbon fiber strut brace right there. As you can see, that's actually quite pretty. For this Polestar, a lot has been changed on the suspension, on the chassis. So we've got stiffer subframe bushings. We've got 80% stiffer springs than on the R design. Öhlins dampers, which are magnificent and manually adjustable. So that forms another highlight of this car. It's basically all there. So let me check if we can see that Öhlins damper. No, not really. but it is really, really cool. And that means because you have those stiffer springs, 80% than stiffer than the R design, the dampers can be a little bit softer, and it means that you have this perfect setup. It feels like the car absorbs everything, but you still maintain control, and it's not super hard, it's not super firm. So it's a really good setup. Now the Polestar also gets a bigger intercooler and some very nice interior trim. So we've got carbon fiber, we've got Alcantara on the steering wheel, and this very cool seat with leather and Alcantara as well on the center console. It is a very nice interior, and the Polestar comes with basically everything as standard. So we've got a heated steering wheel, we've got a heated rear seat, stuff like that. Now let's start it up. I'll open the door a bit so you guys can hear that. As I said, they removed the fuse for the exhaust valve, so it's always open, which means that it's pretty loud. It sounds really good. That's also because we've got a different downpipe. So I don't know, I think it's a 200 or a 300 cell cat downpipe, but that makes a big difference. It sounds really, really good actually, and I wasn't really expecting that. So sport mode, let's go for a little drive. Very cool yellow seat belts as well, by the way. Okay, now as you can hear, that exhaust is always there. It is very, very loud, and that is a choice that Rijk and his dad made to go for this exhaust that is always open. For me personally, I would, if you have it in drive, I would have liked it to be closed right now, because I can imagine that on longer journeys it could get a bit tiring to have this sound all the time. But anyway, I do like them for just ripping out the fuse and going for the loud sound, because it is very, very loud. Does sound very good. Now, as I said, that gearbox, that 6-speed automatic, is a bit of a letdown for this car, and it's actually not as bad as I was expecting, because I'll show you, we've got pedals behind the steering wheel as well, so I'll shift down a couple of times, second gear. It's not bad. Both the shift time and the response to the pedal, I have to say, I was expecting it to be worse, but you can feel that there is some slipping going on sometimes, and the gearbox doesn't really like this tune with this improved torque, increased. So as long as you're full throttle, basically it's not a problem, but sometimes you can feel it slipping a bit in gear. But man, that sounds really good. It's a very distinct sound. I can't really compare it to anything. Okay, so if we put this in sport mode and then we go into the menu here, my V60, and we can turn off the ESC, that means we've got launch control, foot on the brake, full throttle. There we go. A little bit of wheel spin and the automatic upshift. Stock, this car should do 4.9 seconds, I believe. I don't know what we've been able to do yet because of the fog, but go check out the video in the top right corner for the sound and acceleration video. Alrighty, let's take it to the Autobahn. And as I said, we've not been able to record any stuff on the Autobahn because of the fog, so I'm also going to do a 100 to 200 measurement so I can give you guys some idea of what this car performs like. Alright, here we go, full throttle. I'll just leave it in sport mode. it is quite quick. It's not blowing my mind, but it will, you know, it is pulling quite nicely. That was 13.26, but I feel like it can do a bit better than that. I would say 380 horsepower seems legit. Now, as I said, those Öhlins dampers mean that it is very nice and comfy. It is a very compliant setup, meaning that it soaks up everything you want to be soaked up, while still giving you the feeling that you're connected, and that is a very nice feeling. It is actually a really good suspension setup. Now, of course, back when this car came out, it had to compete with an Audi S4 or a BMW 335i, and it was quite expensive, this car, when it came out. There are only 750 of these worldwide, so it is quite a rare car. Well, this is a bit too foggy to go any faster. It is quite an expensive car. It was quite an expensive car, but it also came with a lot of optional extras. So when you start speccing an S4 or a 335i back in the day, you would end up with basically the same price. This, however, was a little bit more powerful. And the fact that it is a Volvo, I think, speaks to a lot of people as well. A fast Volvo just has something cool. It does pick up very nicely, I have to say. It's a nice engine. It's just the gearbox that lets it down a little bit. I'm not going to go any faster than this because it's just too foggy, so we're going to wait it out, and the Autobahn video with hopefully a top speed run will come a little bit later. So I'm going to end it here, guys. I want to thank Rijk and his dad for coming to us. Really awesome. Thank you guys so much. You have an awesome car. I think, you know, this will be a cool car for a very long time. You don't see them that often, so that makes it extra special. To you guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video